Hello everybody, and welcome back to Northern Lights. It has been a hot minute, but the new build is finally here, so I am just going to hit load and get in there. I had to recheck where where it stopped, so that's why the save file's like that, but I'm excited. It's been a while. I gotta see all of the cutest boys, right? I'm excited. The wolf was still such a mystery to me. What his life was like outside the shop, what drove him. Maybe I've even work up the confidence to ask why I kept catching him staring at me so much. Before I know it, my shift had ended and the last few hours of summer break before starting my new life as a college freshman lay ahead of me. Very exciting. I've barely even had a chance to really settle into my new apartment, and as I tended to the plants Vincent had given me, I found myself musing over what I wanted to do with the space. Slipping on the headphones of my walk dog. Okay, sure. Oh, what is that music? Here, I'll turn up the game volume a little bit. There, I gotta... so you all can hear the fun music. I started playing the mixtape Tobin and Liam had gifted me, letting the lively music serve as a jumping off point for my imagination. Maybe set up an art station in the corner over there, throw down a bit of tarp so I don't damage the floor. A bookshelf would be a good against the wall between the bedroom and the kitchen. Oh yeah, need to start sourcing some movie posters again. Liven up the walls a little. Get some pops of color on the wall, really brighten up my slice of Montana. The more I thought about it, the easier a vision for the apartment came together. A cozy den that was truly my own. I didn't have to worry about my father barging in anymore, nor deal with the noises of him fighting with my ma. No, this was my space now, and I found myself smiling over the fact that there wasn't a thing my pa could do about it. After a small dinner, I slipped right into bed, staring out the window at the starry sky, appreciating the relative silence of a small mountain town. Soon I eased into a deep, albeit lonely sleep. The absence of Aldrich pressed against me was oddly hard to ignore. Aw. I rose with the sun. Ugh, never. I like to go down when the sun's going up. Well, that guy's an asshole, you know? I hurriedly got everything together for my first day of classes. Grabbing my backpack, sketch pad, class schedule, and campus map, I double-check everything to make sure nothing was forgotten. Turns out, bubbling with so much excitement, I'd nearly forgotten my wallet and books. You're gonna forget your books when you're going to school? I have forgotten my wallet before, though. That's a real thing. It was really funny when I went to go use the vending machine and was like, I don't got my wallet. Guess I'm not eating today. And I'm driving without a license. It was a really exciting day, that is for certain. Soon I was out the door, just barely in time to catch the new town shuttle, which traveled all the way to the campus. Arriving at college an hour before my class, gave me much-needed opportunity to find my bearings. I at least knew that all of the general study courses would take place in the main building, fortunately. There was no shortage of students through whom I had to weave my way, and door after door, all classrooms looked identical to each other. Reaching the top of the north staircase, I walked out into a completely empty hall. Spare class furniture, that's what that says, and college equipment aligning it, the place was eerily devoid of life. A poignant reminder that this college must have been quite popular and prestigious back in its prime. Looking back at my map, I sighed. Heck, I was supposed to take the northwest staircase. This place is such a dang maze. I'd only just managed to reach my English class mere seconds before the teacher walked in, and my journey to art history afterwards didn't go much better. Taking a seat at the center, I relaxed into as best I could once I'd taken out my notebook, yes. The teacher arrives a few minutes later. It was an elderly tigress who seemed kindly dressed casually and had to adjust her glasses several times as she set up the slide projector. Good morning, everyone. My name is Agatha, and I will be your professor for Art History 101. Whether you are an aspiring artist, a budding author, or taking this class as an elective to round out your degree, I hope I hope to have inspired a newfound and deep appreciation for art in each and every one of you by the end of the semester. The professor spoke with an energetic and enthusiastic cadence that caused even slouching students to sit upright, eager to take in the coming lecture. Before we take a deep dive into the annals of history, I'd like to start with a dash of more recent history for today. A trip into the days of gunslingers, outlaws, and untamed expanses. When you think of the the Wild West in a town like Aspen Hollow, what do you picture? Gunfights, bandits, perhaps even thrilling train robberies? I'd like to share with you a glimpse into the true Wild West. With that, the professor dimmed the lights and switched on the projector, showcasing a jaw-dropping painting of a lake framed by towering mountains with lighting and reflections so impressive they nearly had me believing I was looking at a photograph. Among the Sierra Nevada, California, by Albert Byers. That word, that name, you all know that name, yes indeed, is perhaps one of the greatest representations of America's true Wild West put to canvas. Albert took full advantage of luminous to bring forth a combined sense of majesty, romantic beauty, and an almost overwhelming energy of the unknown all around us. Agatha spoke with a personal love and authentic and affinity for the art of the Wild West while showcasing several more paintings by Albert What's-His-Name as the class went on. The depth of light given to the artwork through the characteristic techniques of luminous brought them to life in a way that felt like I was looking out a window. Adapting some of these techniques might even help me incorporate a unique aspect to my future spaghetti western. Could be a way to give it a distinct look never really seen before in film. While Albert's work is truly inspiring, there is one fundamental fact I want you to carry forward with you. Art is communication, expression, a chance to interpret meaning. But when we look at it through the lens of history, we must not neglect what is left out. In these paintings and others of their time, we witness the story of an untamed western expanse, a journey of bold explorers and pioneers fighting back nature to establish new homes. Yet, that is not the whole story. These were not untamed lands devoid of life. They were already homes, birthplaces, spiritual centerpieces. History were being steadily erased in the process. It is so vitally important that we learn and share the world picture for all its faults, high points, and low points. The professor reminded me of Aldrich in a way, as she clearly had a similar level of love for the warmth, the mysterious beauty, and of grand, untamed landscapes. This alongside a desire to protect and preserve them, and witnessed when he spoke of the importance of employing traditional craftsmanship while restoring Bannock Basin. An honorable goal that warmed my heart and fueled the fires of inspiration. After the lesson ended, it was finally time to head for my first art class, Drawing 101. Excitedly bounding out of the center building ice, I made fevered steps across the quad. My mind was almost overwhelmed by thoughts about everything that I could possibly learn from the upcoming class. New techniques, new perceptions, new inspirations. The classroom was in one corner of the right building, a modest studio that looked out to the quad, while students milled about. Oh, that's a familiar sight. I remember walking into the classrooms with shit like this. It was terrible. No, those days were fun. Those days were fun. Upon entering the room, I was flabbergasted. I felt akin to a kid in a candy store. Sketches and paintings dotted the walls, splatters of paint stained the floor, and the smell of canvased wood and paint were prevalent. That's what that word is. No, excuse me. By the other end of the room, easels circled a pedestal. There were already a few students in the room, quietly talking amongst themselves and showcasing some work from their sketchbooks. Heya! Who? A snow leopard bounded away from the group with unbridled enthusiasm, sketchbook tucked under her arm. Howdy, I'm Cody. Elizabeth, but you can call me Ellie. Are you a freshman also? Yeah, this is the first proper art class for me. You want to see some of my sketches? Well, of course. Come on. We're all sharing over here. She led me over to the small group of fellow aspiring artists. Carefully, a fox was flipping through some of their work, one of them being a rather striking charcoal painting of an elderly woman. After exchanging names with everyone, I flip open my sketchbook, going straight to a page I'd drawn out of the ethereal atmosphere of the bayou. I hope I said those words correctly. That's a word. That is a word right there. Do I know what it is? Not at all. Riverboat in the distance. Even now, the sketch, heck, the mere thought of this location left me feeling uneasy, a knot in my stomach. As much as I loved being about to film one of last movie with Tobin, Liam, and the rest of the film club, I couldn't deny how relieved I was over never having to go back to that neck of the swamp ever again. Holy gods, I love your use of color here. The way you've managed to light the scene with sun rays, balancing the darkness with brighter greens. No kidding, dude. This piece is sick. Where did you draw it? Back in New Orleans. Yeah, it was just the accents I can't do. I can't point to them. Can't do them. You all know this. You all are okay with that fact. None of you bully me silently for it. Though this one is from memory. All of my original works are coming in the mail. I've got a swamp piece too. Ricky went through his portfolio and pulled out a pastel drawing of a swamp straight out of a fairy tale. Wanted a little backstory for a D&D session with my pals back home. What do you think? Heck, I love your use of smudges for the reflection in the water, and the way you've given so much color to a place one expect to be dreary. We chatted like this for a good 15 minutes, as more students piled in and joined the merry group discussion. By the time the class was about to start, there were 12 of us gathered together, sharing a plethora of impressions and honest constructive criticism for each other's pieces. It was nice being amongst artist peers again, and in this brief time, I was already feeling more inspiration swirling in my head. That is one thing I miss about college, though, to being with other people in like the same field, profession, however you want to call it. Don't really hang around other art folks anymore. Oh, it's you. Good afternoon, class. I forget how I did that. Was this the same guy? This is the same guy. Yeah, okay, yeah. The snob from the... Yeah. Okay. It'd be... Yeah, I have no idea how I did their voice before, so we're gonna play it by ear today. My ears and heart sank when I caught sight of the professor, an unfortunately familiar elk who looked just as snobby as every other time we've crossed paths. The elk's eyes scanned over us before finally resting on me, taking the form of a firm stance, a glint in his eye. I could only quietly plead, "Please don't remember me. Please don't remember me." Cody, right? Fuck. Fuck. Yes, sir. The elk just huffs, moving across the room to the desk, settling down his coffee mug, waving his paw to encourage all of us to come closer, though I stay a bit behind the rest of the group. Welcome to Drawing 101. I am Leonard Paulson, and will be your professor for the semester. I've been with the university for 10 years now, and can name many successful pupils who've gone on to the great heights in the art world, thanks to my tutelage. Did I say that word right? I don't think so. You all can tell me in the comments, right? Right? Interestingly, Leonard, yes, hasn't gone on his name a single graduate. Hasn't gone on to name a single graduate that he'd taught who'd been successful and gone on to do well, nor even name a gallery where his own work could be found. But there is a reason your high school art teachers are stuck in high school, rather than showcasing works in galleries or teaching at the college level. And I need to get a good grasp of just how misguided you've all been under their tutelage. That's probably what that is, yes. Everyone, set up your sketch pads and an easel. Consider this your first test. A nervous murmur spreads through the students. It didn't seem like any of us had foreseen being on the spot so quickly. Surely the first day would have been for introductions, some basic introductions at most. All of us took a place on an easel, while the elk staged a selection of fruit and dinnerware on a podium, closing the curtains on a few windows to light the props in a limited fashion. You have 15 minutes to capture a still life, employing charcoal pencils. Go on, show me what you're made of. Not a second later, the studio was filled with the scribbling noises of pencils on sketch pads. A charcoal still life wasn't a difficult task. Once I had the basic sketchwork finished, I spent most of my time focusing on details, such as using smudging to highlight imperfections, believing it would give the piece a distinct personality from copying life onto paper. I did a lot of smudging. That was a lot of my graphite and charcoal pieces was almost all smudging of various degrees. They always said that I had really fun blending, but I would end up rubbing out all of the texture. That was something that I was criticized heavily for. Throughout the activity, the elk circled us, occasionally pausing to lean in and inspect our progress. Though it seemed like any time he stopped to check my work, he was He would dramatically snort or scoff before moving on. You there, a name. What is your goal once you finish college? Leonard had pointed at Ricky, a ferret. Oh, he was a ferret. Standing stiffly upright at the question, a look of stage fright in his eyes, seemingly rattled by the first day exam. Ricky, sir, I want to be an illustrator for novelists. The elk kept a stern expression on his face before cracking a slight smile, given an apparent nod of approval. A noble goal. A skilled novelist can bring an entire world to life in a reader's imagination with nothing more than words on paper. Skilled placement of illustrations can highlight and add depth to the key moments, taking the novel to new heights in the eyes of the reader. Leonard kept circling us like a shark closing in on a trapped prey, stopping over one student over from me. He now eyed Ellie's work. She'd put particular focus on the lighting, adding a surreal depth to the artwork.
Name and goal, please.
Elizabeth, I'd like to go into fashion design. Focus on bold statement pieces.
Some people would mock that goal, call it an elitist dream. I find fashion design to be quite invaluable. Presentation is paramount in perception. After all, before a person even speaks, do we not make initial judgments based simply on their appearance?
And so the elk went around the group, asking the same question to each student, one by one, as the clock kept ticking, though he'd yet to call on me, and as test time was nearly out, Paul spoke up. Excuse me, Professor, you haven't asked Cody what he'd like to do. Leonard snorted a bit at the question, glancing at the husky, then looking over in my direction. I could have sworn that every time we made eye contact, I could catch a look of frustration.
You're right, my apologies. You, name and goal?
Cody, I want to make films, showcase tales no one has ever seen before.
Movies. What other nonsense. Your little penny amusement has no place alongside the world of art.
What a lad. I love the energy in this guy.
They'd be better served as roommates with a trash can. With a trash can.
What's wrong with films?
Well, Miss Elizabeth, tell me. When is the last time you've seen a film in a museum? Perhaps showcased in a gallery, or even a 2-bit little art showcase?
I've been to museums with films in them. Yes, I'm a nerdy nerd. Never, I guessed. Just at the cinema.
This is because they have no place. They don't fit in the world of art. They had to go off and build their silly little cinemas just to have somewhere to put them. And some even have the gall to call them movie theaters.
As I look around at the other students, to me they almost looked like they were in agreement with the elk, and none would speak up with a reason to refute Leonard's views.
But that's not true. It's just a different medium to work with, a different way of painting. Cody, you misunderstand the core philosophy of art. Art is not just the mere expression of the artist. It is the interpretation of the audience, the meaning and reason they ponder at the sight of the great work. Yet movies leave no room for interpretation, simply telling you how to think and feel. Art is the complementary nature of expression in a world of chaos. An illustration from a novel can stand on its own. Then, a delicate manipulation and flow of fabric reveals a beauty of form, even without a wearer. Your little movies that you love so much, they cannot stand on their own. Take away even one element, and the so-called expression you believe you've captured fades into obscurity.
The elk snorts, looking up at the clock to see the 15 minutes for our assignment has passed, and not giving me even half a chance to defend my filmmaking.
Charcoal's down.
Once again, Leonard went to each student one by one, taking a short time to inspect each finished piece, offering some criticism, followed by a positive remark before giving a grade, mostly B's, one even received an A. When the professor stopped by me, he hardly glanced at my drawing for 10 seconds, without offering a single comment, merely issuing a grade.
D. I hope you will be capable of following instructions better than you can argue a case.
The remaining 45 minutes of class were spent going over thumbnails, key elements to focus on, and techniques for adding depth to them when appropriate. Glancing over at my sketchbook every so often, I couldn't get his remarks or the grade out of my head. Did Leonard just hate me, or did I have more to learn than I realized? Why not both?
Your ongoing homework for the week will be to refine your thumbnail process. I expect 10 new thumbnails per day to be present at the time of subsequent classes. Be sure each grouping is based around a specific theme: nature, architecture, portrait, and so forth.
With the class wrapped up, I hurried out with my heart racing, just wanting to get distance between myself and this elk, who was clearly out to get me. Okay, I'm going to end the part here, everyone, so I'll see you guys around.